Welcome to the fashion icon. It's like a small introduction. It's kind of like Josuan. That's what they call him. And it's not just one. Okay, just don't get that. It's Josuan. That is the name. And pretty much I met him through a mutual friend, Piro Regalado, and there was some sort of like magical connection. You have such a great personality, and then as I started talking to you, it's quite a joy to really see young entrepreneurs like yourself, a CEO of an entertainment company that pretty much come out, and what I learned right off, I said, this guy is going places. You're very stylish. You're very charismatic, and most of all, is you the type of guy that is like you're going out and cook and just for an event, and you don't have the ego to like, oh
No,
no, I gotta dress up this way because I'm the CEO of the company.
no,
You
I
know
do it
you
all. I do it all anywhere. Anything I
and
have to
that's
do.
that's quite commendable because one of the things that I always try to instill to the people that they come in for an internship with me is like I put them to sweep the floor. I put them all that because if you clean your environment and you have an organized area, you're going to produce more. And I truly admire you. So I'm a little bit like um how can I curious about that phrase that you use, friends to the loyals.
Well, Baron, before anything, I want to thank you for having me here at the Fashion Icon podcast and for considering me a fashionable guy. I don't know why, because I'm not
Oh,
well
look at
dressed.
you. You're pretty
But
fashionable
I
there.
dress like this just for you to do
Okay.
this interview. Well, that phrase that I believe you found on my Instagram bio, that's
That's
where you
right.
got it from. That's a phrase that I live by. Um, it is my belief that in this current generation or all generations, but in this world in general, there's a lot of greed, and greed brings betrayal, bad intentions, and stuff like that. So I believe that you have to appreciate the friends that you have that are loyal to you. You know, that friends that take care of you and they see some type of value in you, and it doesn't have anything to do with financial value, but just seeing that you have some kind of talent, you have to value that and keep it close to you. That's how you grow.
That's true, and that's what really attracted me to your personality because right off the bat, we kind of like we hit it off. It was kind of like we had this energy, and it was something that worked really well. I saw the value in you because I saw you working with a great friend of mine and how he valued you, and it's kind of like connect the dots. I don't know at the time, I didn't know how wealthy you were. I didn't know what you've done. I didn't know how many millions you may have in crypto or none of that stuff. You were just that guy that I met, and he has an outrageous personality. And I say, this guy is going places, and it's like, and I always see you dressed, and kind of like we had a lot of things in common. Like you mentioned that that you have an old soul,
Yes.
and
Well, that's what people usually tell me. It's
that's I see myself in a younger me and you because that's what they used to tell me. I've always my friends when I was 20 were always 60. I felt that attraction that I was always learning from them.
and I have an idea of the reason behind that. I do not consider me an old soul. This I don't really listen to old music that much or stuff like that. But I was raised in a way that by my father. He's here right now. You can't see it behind camera, but he's here
Yeah,
supporting
I
me.
see the pride on
And
his eyes.
yes, and he raised me in a way that people don't raise their kids anymore. I believe with the old principles. For example, you don't try to become the boyfriend of your friend's girlfriend, right? You don't do that. That's
Yeah,
something I
those
live
are
by.
very very high values.
And I believe that doesn't exist anymore. That people just do whatever makes them happy without thinking about consequences. And I believe in never betraying your friend, not for money, or your family, not for anything. I mean, if you have to go deep in the world and not have anything, but you don't. How can I explain this in a simple way?
Well, no, I can understand what you're trying to say because I I am blessed in many ways. That one of the ways was my grandfather. He had his golden rules, and it was things that you only do the right things. Okay,
Correct.
you never wish harm on anyone. You never do harm on anyone. Okay, you just do something good for you. Now, if it gets taken the wrong way by someone else, that's on them.
One hundred
But
percent.
if you don't, people call it karma. It's just a way of life. Later on, when I was 18, I became a Freemason, a Rosicrucian. And, people say, no, it's a religion. It's not a religion. It's more like a brotherhood. And that also has the golden rules to help others to be able to share that. So I can relate
Correct.
to
Yes.
do that. So going back to the fashion, what caught my eye and something that we were talking off camera. You're such a trendy guy.
Thank you.
What do you do about your outfits? How do you put your outfits together?
Well, some people believe that I watch fashion shows or go to fashion shows, and to be honest, I don't do none of that. I don't go to fashion shows. I've never been to one. I love to go to one just for the
You're invited
experience.
to the next one.
Thank you. I will go 100%. But what I do is when I wake up, before going out anywhere, I think, where am I going? Which place am I attending to? What kind of people are going to be there? And who can I run into unexpectedly? And then I look at myself into the mirror and I ask myself, do I look like the type of guy that those people want to connect with? And if the answer is yes, I'm heading out.
So you see, everything that you say you're not fashionable, but to the contrary, you're everything that you're saying is verbatim how you have, the influence the fashion has in people. And even though we're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, we all do. We're all guilty of judging. And the way that you dress, which exactly what you were saying, is how people are going to see you
Okay.
in a business meeting, or if you're going out with a girl and that kind of a thing. So you're right down the right path. And what specific outfit does you can say that inspires you, like it would be like a power outfit for you?
A power outfit, uh, I believe, is usually going to have something to do with a tuxedo or a suit. That's why, because, well, in my world, I live in the business world, right? This is what I enjoy doing. This is what I like to do. So I'm usually surrounded by business people, and this is something that they do. Uh, you dress in a suit that you feel comfortable with, and you dress in a suit not because you're gonna look good or not, but because it's gonna make you feel powerful and confident. Confident to
Sure.
go to business meetings, powerful to close a deal, um, and that type of stuff. So I
So
would
that would
say
be your dress to success
yes,
type of thing. No, and I
pretty much
yeah,
just
I totally agree. I see often. I kind of like the business European look where I may wear something like this and then put on a jacket with it. And on a man, uh, two things that you look at a man that many people don't, and you have both of them. You look at a watch and you look at a shoe.
mm,
Okay. And a woman, you look at the purse, you look at the shoes.
correct.
Okay. But on a man, that's you could wear anything else. You're wearing a nice watch, you're wearing a nice pair of shoes, and you're like, damn, he's got something going on.
Or even if he doesn't, that's
It's a
the image
statement.
that he's giving you of him. It's
It's really a statement. Uh, Going a little bit more into your personal life, do you consider to be a modern man or a traditional man or more of an elegant guy? Where do you see yourself?
Well, going back to where a little bit back in the podcast where we were talking about morals and principles of the old world. Well, I consider myself a modern guy. Basically, I understand this generation. I understand how this world works. I live in it, right? But I have the way of thinking of the old world, and it goes back to what we were talking about: the principles, the morals, the all of that. So I don't know. I think I will say a modern classical type of guy that
Okay.
likes to dress well and not dress, let's say, very colorful
Well,
or
and I can relate to that because I remember back in the 70s where if you wanted to go into a discotheque, you better be wearing a nice suit. Otherwise, you would not see the lights inside the disco. Okay, very simple. Now, people they go with some of the trends that some of the artists do and all that, and some of the people actually have lost the sense of elegance,
correct.
and they going out and they just dress whatever. And one thing is dressing for comfort, but you can dress for comfort and yet be elegant, which is what I've seen in you in some of the times that that we've shared some moments together in the business world. But I totally understand.
And I agree. Well, one thing people do not understand, or at least my generation right now, is that you dress not to be comfortable. You dress to give people a first impression of who you are or maybe your personality, right? The way I see it is, let's say if us humans couldn't speak, how could I tell you what I like or what kind of guy I am by the way I'm dressing? And what I mean by this, you can identify a hippie just by looking at him without speaking. You can tell this guy is a hippie, or you can tell this guy is from a certain nationality just by looking at him without saying a single word.
Right.
So dressing is an expression.
Well, it is. It's not only as an expression, but is fashion plays a key role in the world of success. And you're right. It's kind of like fashion. I see it as a form of communication.
Correct.
Okay, where you're communicating to the public is kind of like you're communicating to the public how you feel. And I'm this is something that I'm always telling my son. It's like, besides that you being judged, if you dress with pride, people look at you with admiration.
I agree.
If you're proud of yourself, people are going to, we're being judged 24/7,
Hmm.
whether we want to accept it or not. Like I was taught in the Marines when I was in the military that, I mean, I get t shirts and I iron my t shirts. One day, I'm always telling this story about my younger son that we were going out and he's just like, I just put it on because now the thrifting is what's in style. Whereas
Right.
before it was for us poor people to go buy clothes because we couldn't afford it when we got to this country. But now it's a thing. Now it's called thrifting, and you're going out and they sell really expensive stuff that is vintage. And I'm always telling, no, you're not going out like that. So the first time he got all in a pissy, he got upset. I said, no, here, and I showed him you have to iron your t-shirt.
Correct.
The second time he goes, and I says, do I have to iron this? And I says, yes, you do.
Every time.
That's it. And he went and he did it. The third time I go in there and I just looked at him with admiration. And I was like, damn, it works. He was already ironing his t-shirt by himself. So I said, it worked. And I'm so proud to hear, about your father's and your family's education and those values. I see that we often lack in this society.
At this moment, yes, I feel like there should be a lot more education regarding that. Regarding raising your children and educating them to just mainly to prepare them for the world. The world is not a nice place. It's not
Yeah,
a pretty place. The world is for the people that are ready to devour it.
yeah, that's right. Well, like same thing that I keep on saying. It's like basically you can have an opportunity, and it's up to you what you do with it.
I
Okay.
agree.
And luck favors those who are prepared. And talking about that, what kind of like tip would you give someone that is starting out in the business world
Hmm.
for them to prepare to become successful?
Well, I always see these guys on Instagram who get this question asked to them, and their reply is always the same: "Don't give up, hustle." To me, that's so shady advice, right? Because for a person that is starting his business, that doesn't tell him anything. So the advice I will give somebody starting a business will be: first, understand what business are you starting. Do you enjoy it? Then you have to make a plan. See, what will your business need to make it successful? Let's say it might need funds, it might need a certain type of connection of people, or you might need some type of experience. The third step is to just go out there and look for that. Look for the funds, look for the people that you need, those connections, or look for somebody that can share the experience with you to make a real business, a real plan, and actually make it real, not just
Yeah, you
a
you
goal.
definitely you have to definitely you'll have your goal, then you have to make a business plan, write everything that you want in detail, then you start visualizing it, and then the final step you need to go on out and just make it happen. You have to put that plan in motion in order for you to reach that goal. And sure, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, but those mistakes are not really mistakes. Those are
Correct.
lessons. Sometimes those lessons, as I found out, they're very expensive lessons, but they're lessons.
You never lose, you always learn.
That is
And
true.
one thing I always emphasize in people starting businesses is pretty much look at what everyone else is doing and do the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Try to do what most people are not doing. That's how
break
you're
the
gonna win.
break the rules are there as a guideline. It doesn't mean that you have to do it. I forget where I read it in a book that, or no, it was a podcast that I was listening to, and the speaker says, that there was a whole line of people there waiting to get some donuts and all that, and he was with a friend, and he was really really hungry, and the donuts were free, and there was a whole long line, so he just looked at the donuts. He says, "Oh, come on, come over." And he just stuck his hand through the people, grabbed the donut, and walked away. And the guy was like, "What do you do? You just like, it's just, there are no rules that says that I cannot do that. They're making the line. I just went in and I grabbed what I wanted."
And he won.
And he won. I didn't hurt anyone. They just wanted to do the lines. I chose to go get what I wanted.
You gotta always try to do what you have to do without hurting anybody. You
Yeah,
know,
it's what we
it's
were talking about, about that. Now, in some of your photos and all that, it kind of like caught my attention that uh, that you like guns. What's your
uh
passion
that
for
is
that? What's your favorite weapon?
that is one of my favorite hobbies. I say a hobby, but it's not really a hobby because I'm educating myself. I started dealing with guns, and when I say dealing, I said purchasing guns and training like around 3 years ago. So usually I go to the range and I practice. I also used to train with a group of Marines that are retired and they do
Hoorah!
personal security. So I used to learn how to clear properties of individuals and stuff like that with them. They teach me a lot. And I got into that, and that's something I really enjoy, almost like smoking a cigar at home.
We got to smoke a cigar
We
at
gotta
the end
share
of this
one.
podcast.
And regarding the other question, what is my favorite rifle? That would be the AR-15. I feel like it's the best rifle to have at home to protect yourself and self defense because you can do a lot with it.
Yeah, well,
And
it's an overall all AR-15. I'm well versed with it. I was a sharpshooter in the Marines when I was
eh,
there, and I know it very well. You had to make sure that you disassemble it and assemble it blindfolded. So,
and clean it, give it maintenance,
yeah,
oil it,
maintenance
and
maintenance is key. Maintenance is key.
you don't want it
Yeah,
jamming in the middle of
never, ever, ever. So, do you you mentioned that you go to a range? Have you ever gone, or do you go hunting out anywhere?
I haven't been hunting. I have some friends that want me to go hunting, but then they start telling me these stories that they go at 3 a.m. and they have to cross rivers in Florida up there, and there are crocodiles and stuff like that. And I say, you know what? I got way too many things going on to risk myself like
Yeah,
that
it's
at
like
this moment. Maybe
yeah.
when I retire.
You don't want to wake up at 3 in the morning to go. No,
No, I do not.
actually, sometimes you have to sleep out on the woods, and you're sitting there out on a platform, just waiting for uh, for the prey to come. So
And patience, a lot
yeah,
of
a
patience.
lot of patience. You have to sit there for hours.
Yeah.
Specifically, just one what is your most intimate passion? Whether on a personal or on a professional level.
My most intimate passion is business. And what do I mean by this? It's not the money behind it or anything like that, but it is the thrill of negotiating with other people and convincing them to sell them something or to buy something from you, and actually seeing yourself succeed at that you have the
Yeah.
power to make somebody do something or agree with you on something. It's a rush that is very hard to explain, but uh, and it's something that at my age is not very common. I'm 27. At 27 years old, people are not doing what I do or dealing with the people that I deal with. That I
Yeah, they're not as focused as you are,
correct
which is one
and
of the things. And I get it. It's kind of like sometimes it's the hunt is a lot more exciting than the actual prize at the
yes,
end.
yes, it is. And
So I get that. So yeah, I mean, in closing, you know, uh, how do you see yourself? Let's say in 10 years from now.
realistically, well, I have to tell you this. I'm opening a cafe soon. It's gonna be named. It is named the Central Cafe.
Central
So in
Cafe.
10 years, I see myself hopefully with a chain of cafes and restaurants, and with all of my family retired, and hopefully everybody settled, everybody with their own business. And from that point on, I'm just gonna live my life. I'm gonna buy a farm and go live in a farm, and not gonna have to deal with headache or businesses or stuff like that.
I seriously doubt that you're going to go retire to a farm. I mean, I can definitely see yourself being extremely successful. You already are. At your age, you've had so many accomplishments
Thank you.
that you have. You have a great core of family values, which has guided you through a successful life, and that is great. I see that you've planned a successful path for the future. But the way that you are, I don't think that you're just going to go on over and retire to a
Eh,
farm. I'm sure that you'll
Probably
be on
not.
that phone or getting on your private jet to go in and check to see how the businesses are doing. So again, thank you for being in the
No, thank you,
Fashion
Byron.
Icon podcast, which is it's been a little bit more than fashion. It's been more about some of the tips that you can give to someone starting out, and obviously showcasing some of your fashionista style, which is great. We definitely love to hear more in the future of you. Wish you well. And in closing, what is a fun fact about your swan that people don't know?
Fun fact about Josuan. Well, Josuan, you see a tough guy on the street, but once he's home, he's at home with his girlfriend. He's a little baby, right? I like to cuddle and sleep with my girl.
You're the teddy bear, huh?
I am. I am, and people usually don't see that, but it's in there.
I can see that. I can see that. Just thinking and listening to you with your family values. So I can see that. So once again, Joswan here, a great entrepreneur. You're gonna see a lot of more of him with his chain of restaurants that are coming up and so on. And again, at the end of the podcast, make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe, give us a comments, give us a shout out. How we make some improvements or some topics that you want to see, remember to make sure that you subscribe to the Fashion Icon. So I'll see you in the next one.
For silky smooth skin, come use our brand new line from Mita de Perales body lotion including hyaluronic acid and vitamin E, perfect for you.